Hi, it's Simone Stewart from Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. This program is aired on the Mercy and Truth Network. We go live on Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. or 8:30 p.m. your time. And on Mondays, we have our repeat at 3 p.m. local time or 4 p.m. within the environment. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. Indeed, this program is, as you know, about women, for women, and by a woman. Here we talk about the triumphs and challenges and the struggles that our women go through, and then we talk about how they have triumphed. But I'm taking a little twist to it because I think, the saying says that behind every good man is a strong woman, or vice versa, behind every strong man is a good woman. But I want to hear it from the mouth of a man this week. How women were in the form of both his mom and his wife, and just how we have impacted his life, and so many more of you who are watching. On set with me today is Mr. Jamar Wright. And pleased to have you, sir.
It's awesome.
Just to share a little bit about who you are so that our audience, they know the powerful man that is sitting in on set today. So Jamar is the founder of Mind Food International, and I like the name Mind Food, so we'll talk a little about that shortly. You are a leadership coach, sir, inspirational teacher, possessing a degree in banking and finance with a minor in international business, author of 3 books, a family man, a radio station host, and the list goes on. And this is what we say about our women, that they wear many hats, but now we also know that our men wear many hats. Now, sir, I want you to tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and the role that, let's start with your mom, the role that she plays.
I mean, before we even go into all of the titles, because if we minus the title, probably if it wasn't for, I think, 4 particular female in my life, my mother, my grandmother, my wife, and my aunt, and they all play a very, very critical role in my life. And so before all of this person that is sitting right here, many of you probably you haven't heard my story before, but if you minus all of that, the person who's sitting here have went through a lot in terms of poverty, because I grew up in a place called Bog Walk, but for those of you, Bog Walk is in St. Catherine. It's between Spanish Town and Lindsay. Right after you pass a place called Ken Village, there it's Bog Walk sitting right here. And so I grew up in a big board house. That house was built 30 years before I was born.
Okay, now a board house.
Yeah, a board house. And it was catch and 4 blocks. So we used to have a thing called cellar. We have to have the wooden floor, and sometimes when we walk, we used to fall through the floor. And we used to have a thing we call veranda. Now my grandmother, that house was built by my grandmother and my grandfather. And you can just imagine a house that has never been repaired for 30 years. Now we used to call the house dry weather house. That's what my grandmother used to call it. And 11 of us used to live in it. The people in the lane, they used to call that house a chicken coop.
Jesus.
Because 11 of us, can you imagine 11 of us living in a big board house? And so that board house, it used to divide up between 3. 1 room for my grandfather and grandmother, 1 room for my mother, and the rest of it was for my cousin. Luckily, there was no female, just boys. And so we had 2 bed in our room, and so when it rains, we used to have to roll up the mattress, because when it rained, that's why my grandmother called it the dry weather house, because we have to set pans and bucket and everything to collect that water. Now, if water touched that mattress, it used to be stink, and so we have to roll it up. No, we used to have a thing called food stamp. Many people don't know what food stamp is.
I think they still give them out though.
It is called parts, because because we matriculated into parts. We didn't get electricity in 2003.
Wow.
Yeah, so we were without electricity. Now, when we used to process our meat, we used to have to put salt on it.
put it? Is that one that
Yeah.
you hide in the ground?
No, we don't. Never. We used to put it in a dish, or for example, chicken. We used to have to season it up like the night before because we didn't have a refrigerator, because we didn't have electricity, because we received electricity in 2003, and 2003 is not really far
And a
from
long
here.
time from.
Yeah. So at one point, I used to attend school 2 times per week.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember in grade 6. This is in the year 2000, because I did the second GSA. When I was in grade 5, when they abolished common entrance, and so by the time I went to grade 6, they had GSA, but I was too young. At the time I was 10. And so I used to attend school 2 times per week. And I remember the teacher called me, not the teacher, the principal, and she said, I want to speak to your parents. And so I went and I asked my mother, why is it that she can't send me to school every day? A matter of fact, they used to call me Rosie Legabees or Rosemary Bad Breed son, because we didn't used to go to school. We used to go to school so horrible that they used to call us Rosie Legabees or Rosie Bad Breed. They used to say, we need to put you guys in a barrel and roll your away. You don't know, we don't really sure if you have a purpose, or why would somebody like you even exist. And so I went home and I asked my mother.
Hold on, Jamar, because you said something that is very powerful there, and sometimes, just the other day I was saying it, my husband and I were talking about the things that we say to our children, the things that people in the community say to us, and people judge us based on where we are from. I keep saying I'm from Flankers, and at the time where we were from the backside of Flankers, so taxi don't go down there.
Wow.
And how we started out was indeed a board house on the 4 pillars. Now a lot of persons don't know that, because the thing is, those who know us now, they just take us for what they see, but they don't go back to where we're coming from. But you and I understand the power of remembering where we're coming from to where we are now, to where we're going, right? So you're saying that persons as call you the Lego bees, Rosie Lego bees, and without no Rosie Bad Breed, with no purpose.
They used to call us, we are rolling stone with no abiding master. I don't know what that cliche come from. And so we used to play football right throughout the day when we never used to go to school. So they said those are just, we know their destination by what, because if you see somebody every day, we only have two clothes, and we never have the best of clothes anyway. And so when I went and I asked my mother, I said, Mommy, why is it that you can't send me to school every single day? And I remember she didn't answer me. What she did, she went into her bag and she took out a payslip. And this is the year 2000, people. This is about 20 years.
20 years ago.
And so my mother showed me her payslip, and she was earning less than 2,000 Jamaican dollars.
My God.
In the year 2000. That's less than about 20 years. Yeah, that's about less than.
And that was how many years she had?
At the time, she had 2 of us. Okay. But remember that Mom was like a big family with 11 of us. And so, and when she showed me that, because my mother, she get paid every Thursday, because I know that, because whenever she get paid on Thursday, she would buy us snacks. And so when my mother get paid, because she used to work at a place called Tolo Estate, and I used to attend Tolo School. So I'm assuming that Tolo Estate gave Tolo Primary land to build that school. And so what my mother used to do at Tolo Estate, she used to pick the banana and prepare it for it to export. And because banana is a seasonal fruit, and when that is finished, she used to, the other day we were driving past Tolo, and she was in the car with my wife and my dad, and she looked into the cane piece and said, sometime I used to pour the fertilizer at the root of the cane, and she said, especially when it rain, if rain catch you inside the cane piece, it used to itch your skin, and sometimes she said that the cane leaf, it used to cut you. And so she when she showed me that, she never said anything, she showed me that, and I understand the situation, because when she get paid on Thursday, she could send us to school on Friday. Wow. She cooked Saturday, she cooked Sunday, and by Monday there was hardly any money for you to go to school. Now, when I did GSAT, there were very few people Or even, because if you think about it, it's logical. It's if somebody attending school 2 times per week, you're not going to expect much from somebody who's going to do exam
Right.
2 days. And so when I did GSAC, they placed me at St. Mary's College. Now St. Mary's College is not in St. Mary, it's in Above Rocks. It's in Above Rock, St. Catherine. Above Rocks is right between the border of rural St. Andrew and rural St. Catherine. And so when I started high school, I started in 2000. I think my father started to chip in, but before that, I used to only receive 100 Jamaican dollars. And at that time it was like $80 for the fare, so minus 80 from $100. Yeah. So I ended up working part time. One of my cousin, he said that that at that time they used to have what they call roots. So roots was a thing before Red Bull come in. And
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, they used to have the Baba roots and the Zion roots, because the Zion roots, I was a big company at the time, but it mushroomed from Bog Walk. And so my uncle, he was a part of that, but he started his own company, and at the time it was growing, and so he employed 15%. So one day my cousin called me and said, you know what? Can you come and help to mix the roots for me? And I went, and he gave me $500. No, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. It was a typical rags to riches store with $500. And so I said to him, because I worked $500 in less than 3 hours. So I said to him, can I come in the evening after school and help you mix the roots? I said, you know what? I'm going to ask your uncle, because he was my uncle.
But Jamar, I'm listening to you. I'm listening to Roses. What do you call it? Roses.
Lego bees.
Roses Lego bees.
Bad breed.
Are bad breed. Who say as far as we're concerned, them people they don't have no consciousness.
Yeah.
So you go into high school and I think so you recognize you get money. You worked money, honest money. Good money, and that there was something that you could actually do. What was it that you think drove you?
My grandmother, because my grandmother, she keep repeating that somebody has to. She used to drill it in her head. She said, we can't allow people prophecy to fulfill in your life. And
come on, say that again.
You can't allow people prophecy to fulfill in your life. And she was a woman. She was a Christian. She used to carry me to the church. But at one point I stopped, because I was saying to my grandma, I said, Grandma, I remember one time they run us out of the police station, because we used to go to the police station to collect the food stamp before we matriculate into pass. And I was saying, Grandma, we are quoting that our God own a cattle and the 1,000 and we don't even own a house.
Yes.
The land that we live on, it was a lease with a board house. So then I asked my grandma, why is it that we couldn't even build a black house? And she said, no, the land that we live on, it was a lease. So my grandmother used to drill it. She said, somebody has to escape poverty. She said, somebody has to amount to something. And she used to drill it in her head. She used to drill it. She said, a little sleep and a little sleep until poverty comes up upon us. And by the time when nobody could sleep until 7 a.m. in the morning, we have to get up and find something industrious and do. And she said, somebody, somewhere, we have to get out of poverty. Somebody have to get out of poverty. She said, I did not go far in school because of the amount of kids that I have. But she said somebody have to break the cycle of poverty. And so we keep on hearing that. I mean, at the time it was very tempting. You could go anyway and become destructive. But I think what happened to me was in grade 9.
Yes.
Because I was wayward by the time I hit grade 9.
But hold on, before you reach grade 9, because I know somebody watching probably wondering, is that uniquely me with Simone Stewart? Yeah. Yes, it is. But we want to hear about the strength of of women from the mouths of our men. And so I have Jamar Wright. He's on set, CEO of Mind Foods International. He's sharing how his grandmother spoke life into him, despite the fact that those around them called them Rolling Stone and told them that they serve no purpose. And so he's sharing how out of poverty, how he moved out of poverty and basically has elevated himself and his family. So now you're at grade 9, sir.
Yeah, I was at grade 9 because at grade 9 I started to work part-time. Because what had happened is that my mother bought me a shoes, and I remember vividly, and this is why I stopped attending class, and my grade plummeted because I was like a 75. I wasn't an A plus student, but I was a 75, 70, B plus, B minus type of person. And so when I hit grade 9 now, I remember one day when I went to school, my mother bought me a shoes. I can't pronounce the name of the shoes. They used to call me Sao by the name of the shoes. It's spelled S-A-O. And so what my mother used to do when they used to buy us a shoes, they used to draw our feet on the paper.
Yes, I remember.
And she used to go to a place in Lindsay, they call it Bendong. That's where we buy second hand stuff. No, you can buy it on eBay. You buy used stuff on eBay. And so she went to Lindsay to buy my shoes at Bendong. And so I remember when I went to school the first morning at grade 9. This wasn't orientation because we did orientation before 1 week before we attend school. And I remember one of the guy, he looked down at my shoes and he said to me, he said, Jamar, you know I wear a Timberland, right? And I said, yeah, it's a nice Timberland. He said, my Timberland is about $7,000. And he said, you know what, I saw your shoes downtown and the shoes was selling for about 200 or 300. He said, my shoes can start a little mini store and I sell your shoes. He said, I can have a. And from that moment, they used to call me Sao. They used to trouble me by the shoes. And so I was embarrassed about the fact that I was wearing such a, cheap shoes. Because most Sunday, we used to go to this shoemaker by the name of Leo to get our shoes glued. And he knows, Leo knows. So by the time when we with or without money, Leo just take our shoes and glue it up, or sometimes he stitch it up. So the shoes sometimes was in deplorable, and so I stopped attending class.
So you stopped going to school?
No, not school. I go to school, but I used to school.
You school? Yeah, because of your shoes?
Yeah, because because of the peer pressure. And so my grades were so...
Hold on, I don't cut you. You said something a while ago, peer pressure. And I'm echoing these things because a lot of our young people are struggling with these things, right? I remember I had a bag that I got because again similar I can identify the bag had a hole, but my mother could not afford to buy anything. So you try to get to school early because you don't want nobody see you, and you sort of you sidestep everybody because you don't want nobody see somebody your bag of hole, and then the shoes, it just, I don't know, in those times we seem to have gotten the shoes that nobody else no want. The shoes just ugly, and so I would try to cross my foot or use my bag to cover my foot because I didn't want anybody to see it. But it is we never saw it as peer pressure then, But you said it right. We didn't want the peer pressure, and we never want people to, what you call it now, for judgery.
Yeah, for judges,
But let's fast forward now because things took a turn. You ended up in university, you have a degree and that kind of thing. But again, I want us to just fast forward and tell us what pushed you to get to university and decided that you're settling down, you're buckling down, you're not allowing nobody prophecy to be fulfilled.
Okay, so that moment happened in the last class in grade 9. And I think the guidance counselor, I went to guidance counselor for the very first time since the school term. And she said, as some of you, I'm going to see you 2 years from now selling bag juice and selling banana chips. And she said, the sad thing about this is that so many of you inside here, you are brighter than my daughter. My daughter is at med school right now. She's not brighter than none of you right here. And she said, I can say it. And she said, the thing is that some of you parents, you are not rich. No rich parents send their kids to St. Mary's College. And she said, the chances are one of you sitting down right here, your mother is doing a job or your father. And when I remember that, I remember my mother because my mother was working at Tulla Estate. And I almost cried. I said, this lady is talking about my story. And so I went out and I cried. And at that time, like the prodigal son, I came to myself. Knowing after I did CXC, they signed me up. I changed my life, get signed up for my entire CXC. In the year 2005, I was walking through the lane and somebody said, do you know that you have an uncle? He's a big manager at Digicel. And so while I was walking, that this is my brother, this is my father brother. He called me and he said, do you have a phone? And I said, no. And so he gave me one of the latest phones because at the time he was a manager at Digicel. And she said, you know what, I'm going to call it. And so that December he called me and said, you know what, I have a work at Digicel for you during the Christmas time. Because at the time I wasn't working because I wanted to focus on six. And he said, you know what, the job I'm going to pay $1,500 a day for. And I almost, I was like the richest man now in Bog Walk because I was working 6 days a week for $1,500 a day. And so his wife took me on as her son. And she said, you know what? You are going to leave poverty because at that time, my cousin, he was going to Kingston College. He was in upper six, and my little cousin, he was about to do GSAT. And so my uncle's wife, she took me on as one of her sons. And so at the time, I didn't have a passport. She said, you need a passport. She said, you know what? Come, we are going to open a bank account. And by the time she said, you know what? Do you sign up for university? And I said, you know what? I want to go to Portmore. And she said, no, you must sign up for UTech. And so we signed up for UTech, and I went to sixth form. She said, and she said, you know what, you can stay with me and go to UTech. And so I stay with them. And she said, you know what, by the time we move, we buy another house in Caribbean Estate. And she said, you know what, I want you to put in the information because they were going upstairs with the house. And by the time I put in, I said to her, auntie, this is personal information. She said, no, I'm breaking poverty from your mindset that when you reach to a certain age, there's no house that you will see our car. Because at the time we had 4 cars in the never. And she said, you are not here just to see these things. She said, one of the things you must never do is these material things, they can come and go because a carpet can pull from beneath your feet so quick. She said, but you are here to see these things that when you grow and get big, these things don't become your foundation of life. But it is there to show you that you can break poverty and help people. And so she kind of took me step by step until I actually removed that mindset. Now, when I was in the year 2003, I'm married to Nas. And then everything started.
Voila, we're not going there yet. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. No doubt you are watching Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. And we have a very, I'm telling you, a very powerful man here with us today, Jamar Wright, CEO of Mind Foods International. And he's sharing with us just the impact of women in his life, his mom, his grandmother, his teacher, his uncle's wife, right? We've got so many women already. Women, there's power in you. When we come back, we're going to talk about how this man broke the back of poverty and is now one of the most, as a matter of fact, he's a Governor General awardee. So we'll hear more when we get back.
Who am I really? Choices, choices, choices. In pursuit of a career? OMG, I'm a wife. Help! I am a mother. Oh, I'm in church. When do I get to be a woman that God called me to be? Uniquely Me covers the acrobatic endeavors of every woman to balance the responsibilities of being a mother, a wife, a professional, a church leader, a friend, yet still maintain her identity. I too am a mother, a wife, a trained minister of religion, a banker, an entrepreneur trying to balance the many hats that signifies my role. My book will help motivate and empower every woman who is really unique in her own way. Grab your copy today on Amazon because Uniquely Me is uniquely you.
Welcome back to another episode of Uniquely Me with Simone Stewart. Of course, on set with me today is Jamar Wright, CEO of Mind Foods International, Governor General Awardee, what we call it now, author, leadership coach, inspirational teacher. Jamar, so we reached a part now where we're talking about you're a big man now.
Yeah.
You basically broke the back of poverty,
Yeah.
and I don't know if
Yeah.
you realize that from you got that $500, you basically started breaking the
Yeah.
back of
Yeah.
poverty. But Mind Foods International has become something big, right? I think it might have even expanded beyond your wildest imaginations to the point of being awarded the Governor General's Award. Tell us a little bit quickly about, Mind Foods International, the role of you and your wife in this business. Just talk to us a little bit.
I mean, All Mind Food International comes about. It wasn't anything. It wasn't a idea. It was one day I was on the bed with Nas, and I heard a voice 3 times. It said, "Those stuff that you are posting on Facebook, you need to put it in an email and send it out." At the time, we have 105 email, and I said, "You know what, babes? I'm going to send it out." And babes was saying, "Probably no. Don't send it out because you don't want to bombard anybody." So I heard the voice again, and so I was about to post something, and I said, "You know what? I'm going to post it in the email." And so I posted in the email, and I called it "Food for the Mind." It's something about be a reservoir and not a river. That was the first message. And so I sent it up. And then somebody called me, and her name was Sandy. She became our best friend, and she said, "You know what, Jamal? I don't know you yet, but she said you should send this out every single day." And I continue with the email. The email listing grow until it become 400.
Wow.
Until people started to call us. As a matter of fact, my cousin saw the email, and he said, "You know what? This name is too long. Food for the Mind." He said, "Call it Mind Food International." I said, "No, it's just something."
So the international came on even before you went international.
Yeah, because he said you need to call this thing Mind Food International. I said, "No, it's just an email." And he said, "You know what? You need a logo for this." And I said, "No." And he said, "You know what? You're going to thank me in the future." And so he developed the logo for us. We called it Mind Food International. One of our friends that I used to attend high school with, and he used to go to university together, he said, "Jamar, I love this thing. You need a Facebook page for it." I said, "No, Omanza."
So hold on. So we hear so we hear business. A person's forming the business for you, fixing up the business. You know, listen, your story has left me stirred today, and a lot more persons watching. I'm sure you're feeling stirred, recognizing that there are those who've spoken negatively in your ears and in your spirit, but there are also those who are speaking positively, and not just speaking, but they're propelling you and moving you forward. Jamar, we have just a minute, basically. I know that so we've heard about the different women, your mom, your grandmother, your teacher, your sister, your auntie, your uncle's wife, and we know now that there is your own wife there with you. I want you to speak to, for a moment, speak to our women, right? That there is the power that's in them, and what they need to be using this power to do.
Yeah, I think most women don't realize that the power that they have something, because I always joke and say, if it can be done, Nas will get it done. I'm like an architect who can dream something, but I necessarily can't build it. Nas is a person who can build that thing. She has that power, and I think woman is unique in the sense that when God created them to be helpmeet, is that they have the power to build something that many men can't do.
Yes.
And so many women, when they're married, they're afraid of the word submission. But submission is not a dangerous word. Submission in itself, it simply means to respect somebody as the leader in that. And so when a female married says, "Oh my God, I have to submit," no. When you have a true man and he has a vision and a purpose, and you become a part of that. And let me say to the men, you have to involve your wife in your purpose and your vision. If you don't involve her, she will not feel a part of the family. And so everything I'm doing, and Nas is a part of it. And so I even popular her forward, because I used to say, "Babes, you can be a HR consultant. You have been sitting on this board for a long, submitting. You need to do this." And she said, right now, she walked into her purpose. And so female, you have the power and you have the energy. So when marriage is really a purpose to get God's purpose done on earth, that's what marriage is. And so when God is not only to have children, But the principle of being multiply and subdue, it's all about your purpose, your vision. So if you write a book, you write one book and then you multiply that book and then you subdue the market. To subdue means to become the market leader, and then you have dominion for God. That is what you want.
I am loving it, sir.
Yeah.
Touch me. Thank you so much, Jamar, for coming and sharing.
Yeah.
I mean, women, I'm telling you, we needed to hear it from somebody else or from the mouth of the men that indeed we are unique. We are super women, right? We can do it. You need to check out Jamar's page and his Instagram page. I mean, every morning he posts things that it leaves you stirred. One morning I was reading where he said that he gets up 3 o'clock in the mornings and he just can't go back. The Lord has him there writing. Mind Foods International. They are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah, we're on YouTube.
All over. Check them out. Thank you so much again for tuning in. If you'd like to have your story aired here, you can reach me 1-876-856-5769 or my social channels. They're going across the page. And of course, tuning on a Saturday night to MTM, watch the program. We go live, and of course we are repeating on Mondays, and we are on YouTube. Thanks again. Remember, uniquely me is uniquely you.
Bye guys, see you soon.